Hello class, my name is Tyler Wagner and this is my presentation number 4 for Automotive Management 402. And so before we get started, I want to go over a little bit of my background on why I went into the automotive field. So mostly it all started in my childhood. When I was growing up, I was always into go-karts, dirt bikes, anything that had a motor and 4 wheels or 2 wheels. It didn't really matter if it had a motor. I was either wanting to ride it, and when it broke, I was, well, at that point trying to attempt to fix them. It took a little bit trial and error before I actually had my first successful engine repair. When you're 10 years old and no one's teaching you, you kind of mess up a little bit, but I've come a long way. So then, really when I started to actually take classes was in high school. I did 2 years of automotive service, which is the hands-on service portion, like the engines, transmissions, suspension, brakes, all that fun stuff. And then, so I did that for 2 years, and then for one of those years I also took a auto collision class, which I thought was pretty cool, but it didn't really catch my eye, or it really didn't spark my interest as much as the actual service portion of it. But it's good to know how to do general, how it works, and know the basics of the body, or the body work. So then after high school, I graduated in 2010 from Lance Cruise, which is in Harrison Township. Directly out of high school, I started taking classes in Amgt Community College, and I never really took a break up till now. I'm actually in my last class right now, but we'll get to that later. So I've been taking them on. The only breaks I've taken have been for summers. Here and there I'll take, if I don't have a class that's offered, then I'll take the summer off. But for the most part, for the first 4 years that I went to Macomb and got 2 associate's degrees, I was full-time for the most part. And then when I got a new job and I started taking Ferris classes, I kind of cut it down to part-time because I was working full-time at that point. So on here I have taken college courses since graduation, which we just talked about. Macomb Community College, 2010, directly out of high school. I took actually a college course that spring, right after I graduated, so it was like right to it. And I quit going there 2014 when I started going to Ferris. And so before I started working my current job, up until 2014 when I started Ferris classes, I always worked in the restaurant business, and I never really worked in the automotive field, but I just had it was more of a hobby for me. Like me and my buddies would always work on our cars, and I really never had to pay anybody to ever fix anything for me. I always kind of just did it myself, and like I said, a lot of trial and error, but I've learned a lot. So, and then right now, Ferris State, when I started 2014, it's a 2-year program, obviously, but when you do it part-time, it takes a little longer. So I'll be finishing at the end of this course. It's actually my last course, and then I'll be graduating. So now I'm going to touch about Macomb Community College, which a lot of you are probably familiar with. There's one in Warren, and then there's one in Clinton Township. I attended both of them. And for the first 2 years of the community college, I was taking pretty much just all your prereqs, economics, English, math, pretty much everything that you guys most likely had to take as well. So it's pretty basic there. And when I first started, I was going for a lot of medical field and biology classes and science because I wasn't really too sure what I wanted to do right after high school. I knew that I was really interested in the automotive industry, but everyone always told me if you like doing it for a hobby, don't make it your career because you won't like doing it as a hobby anymore. And really, honestly, nothing else really sparked my interest except for kind of science, and I was real good at science and hands-on and in the lab doing those kind of lab procedures where you're measuring and stuff like that. I was really always into stuff like that, real hands-on. So I started just taking a lot of science classes, and I wasn't really sure where it was going, and pretty much it was kind of a waste. Well, I wouldn't say a waste of time, but it put me back. I would have already graduated by now if it wasn't for that. And then when I finally realized that I should probably do something that I'm going to enjoy doing for the rest of my life, that's when I started taking the automotive classes at Macomb. And immediately after taking those classes, I knew that, I was really excelling in the class, and that's what I wanted to do, at least for right now. So, that's what I did. I went out after the classes. I would go and get my ASCs, and then after I got so many, I went and got a job at a dealership as a technician, and I've been there ever since. And so, the things I've learned in the Macomb Community College definitely helped me in my job right now. And then obviously, we're prereq classes for the Ferris State University course that I'm in currently. And so then the next slide I'm going to talk about my Ferris State University experience. And I kind of knew Ferris was on my radar even when I first started going to Macomb. I had a lot of friends that went there. So after I started doing the automotive classes at Macomb, they were always advertising for the 2+2 program where it would transfer your credits over to Ferris. So I looked into it and it looked really good. Right now I'm happy with what I'm doing, but I know people get burnt out from wrenching on cars all the time, and I kind of wanted to just have a backup plan. So this is definitely going to open many doors for me, I hope, and the experience I have on my job, I'm hoping it will help me in the future if I ever want to go to a new job. But anyways, like I said, I'm in my final class, and that's the 402 class that this video's for. And some things that I really liked about the program, well, I guess like and dislike. I kind of disliked them when I was doing them, obviously, but I feel like I got a lot out of them. And that would be the book reviews. And the reason why I say this is because I'm not really the kind of person that's just going to pick up a book and read it. So by having to read the book and then make a review, first of all, it forced me to read the book. And when you're reading a book that pertains to the class that you're in, you can really understand what the author is trying to say a lot more. And a lot of the books, it's just good to know like the history of where the industry's been, and even up to current times where the industry's going. Like I remember reading one of the books that talked about Toyota's lean leadership, and I see that like starting to come out every day. Like in everyday life in the dealerships, everyone's trying to go towards that leadership. Instead of having like a boss, you got a leader. And I really feel like that's important for any kind of business as well. But so yeah, book reviews I definitely think were very beneficial. Discussion boards, being an online course, I never took online courses before the Ferris State program. So you always interact with your classmates when you're in class, and the discussion boards are definitely a good way, or almost even a more effective way, I think, to really get your point across, and then see what your classmates are really trying to tell you or what they think through the discussion boards. So if someone posts something about an article or whatever the weekly discussion is about, it gives them time to really like think about it when they're writing it, instead of just sitting and talking. If you're talking in person, then 20 minutes later you got another thought. I don't know, I just feel like the discussion boards are a lot easier to get your point across and then understand what someone's trying to say to you, really. A lot of the projects, I actually really liked the Mogul. It was in one of the courses that we took, and it was where you had it was like an interface when you got to punch in your, was it marketing, your operations, and then like employee turnovers, and you got to punch in all your numbers and make your business profitable. It's a manufacturing business, and even though it wasn't really, I never really mastered that Mogul, but I was really, really bad at it in the beginning, but I ended up getting the hang of it and getting better and better. But for me, like I said, I'm a very hands-on person. I like to put things in and see the result instead of like doing a lot of paperwork and a lot of research. And that was really a good way for me to kind of get the gist of how, like, if you do this, it's going to affect this. And I thought it had a lot of benefit. And also, the 401 term project was to create a dealership, and it was a pretty in-depth project. It's pretty tough, but it definitely brought to light a lot of things that go on in the dealership. And I just thought that that was really important, because when you just look at it, when you look at the big picture, you don't really see all the little pictures that go into the big picture, and that really helped make it a little bit more understanding, and just bring to light everything that's involved in the dealership, and in order to create a dealership. I mean, it's a lot of work. And also the presentations. I was never really a good presentation giver. Never really liked standing up in front of the class, and it's not really that I was anxious. I always kind of forgot which word I wanted to say next, and I'd freeze up. And even from I was just looking through my computer the other day, and I found my first video, my introduction video for my first Ferris class, and I honestly couldn't believe that I was the way I was doing the presentation was just like, so I guess I was like a rookie compared to now. I mean, I still have things I need to touch on, but I'm a lot more developed presenter, I would say. So I've definitely taken away new skills when doing presentations, and it's just made it a lot more easier for me. Okay, and then as far as where I want to go after school's out, I pretty much plan to stay in the dealership as a tech for a while, because I really enjoy that kind of work. But like I said, people get burned out. I'm not there yet. Like I said, I'm a very hands-on person. But when I'm done doing that, if I ever decide it's time to quit, you know, my back's hurting from leaning over the hood of cars, whatever, I'd really like to probably look to the tech center. I've been working for a GM dealership. We work on Chevrolet, Buick, and pretty much everything that GM makes, and also other models. But so I have a lot of experience with General Motors products, so the tech center is really on my radar, because I want to stay with General Motors. And I'd like to just work there, and I'm not really too sure what I would do, but something hands-on that I could relate my technician skills along with my skills that I've learned from the automotive management program at Ferris. So, hope you guys enjoyed.